Hi everyone, and welcome back to ADA Network State, the best place to learn about the latest happening from across the Cardano ecosystem and the wider crypto universe. We have a lot to cover today, so let's get started. From a macroeconomic standpoint, we're going to look at the US interest rates, recessionary fears, Japan, and the carry trade, and really what's happening over there and has been over the last few days. Within the Cardano ecosystem, we will look at the status of node version 9.1 and the upcoming Chang hard fork, Charles and the Interim Constitutional Committee in Argentina for government meetings. Hydra is coming. We'll be taking a look at what's going on there. We'll also look at the Partner Chains Toolkit announcement from IOG. We'll review the Intersect Global Workshop announcements. We'll have a bit of fun and look at the BitPanda poll, and also a suggestion to take a look at the Max Maher video. Across Cardano projects, we'll look at updates from Butane, Revuto, Axo, Djed, and Nova Finance. And from the wider crypto ecosystem, we'll take a look at the latest from the SEC versus Binance case, the strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation, Morgan Stanley actively selling ETFs now via its employees, Microstrategy raising another $2 billion to buy Bitcoin, and Trump commenting on paying off the national debt with Bitcoin. Following the latest FOMC meeting, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announced that interest rates will remain unchanged for now. However, he suggested that rate reductions could be considered in the future, possibly as early as September. Lowering interest rates generally reduces the cost of borrowing and can lower interest payments on existing loans. This form of monetary easing can stimulate economic activity by encouraging spending and investment, or it can be used as a tool to mitigate the risk of an economic downturn. And talking about an economic downturn, the Kabasi letter has posted the following. The Sahm Rule recession indicator surged to 0.53 in July from 0.43, suggesting that the US economy might be entering a recession. The Sahm Rule indicates a downturn when the unemployment rate increases by 0.5 percentage points above its low of the previous 12 months. In July, the unemployment rate rose to 4.3% from 4.1% in June, triggering the Sahm Rule. Historically, over the past 65 years, this indicator has never given a false signal. Additionally, every time this threshold has been breached, the increase in the unemployment rate has typically accelerated. In addition to the Sahm Rule, I want to talk to the yen carry trade, and specifically what Michael Saylor has been saying about this for some time. He's posted this here on X, and it points to a video that I think he recorded back in May, basically explaining what the yen carry trade, or what the reversal of the yen carry trade is, and the implications it has for the global economy. So let me explain or summarize that video, and then we'll talk about recent events that have happened in Japan. The reversal of the yen carry trade is emerging as a major catalyst for global economic risks. The yen carry trade involves borrowing at Japan's historical low interest rates and investing in higher yielding assets elsewhere. Japan's long-standing zero interest rates have made it a prime source of cheap capital, with an estimated $20 trillion involved in this trade globally. However, rising oil prices are forcing Japan to reconsider its monetary policy. Since Japan imports all its oil and pays in US dollars, increasing oil prices combined with a reducing strength of the yen means that for Japan, the costs keep on rising. To counter this, Japan might raise interest rates or buy yen and sell dollars to strengthen its currency. If Japan succeeds in strengthening the yen, it could trigger a global margin call. Borrowers who have taken advantage of the yen's low value will face more expensive loans, potentially leading to a sell-off of assets worldwide in order to repay these loans. This scenario presents a significant risk for the global economy, highlighting the interconnectedness of the global financial system and the potential for widespread impact from the shifts in global currency strategies. So this is essentially just leverage on a global scale, and a strengthening yen that Japan is being forced into making could trigger a global sell-off to stop everyone's loans and defaulting and essentially getting liquidated. Now, what's happened this week, and I will flip over to an article from the BBC, is Japan has just hiked interest rates for the second time since 2007. The Bank of Japan has increased its key interest rate to around 0.25% from the previous range of 0 to 0.1%. It has also outlined a plan to unwind its massive bond buying program as it eases back from a decade plus of stimulus measures. So this is significant. Not only are they increasing interest rates, but they're also selling their US Treasury bonds for dollars in order to buy yen to strengthen the yen. And this could be the trigger for a global financial currency crisis. As always, a quick look at Pool Tool and the status of the Chang upgrade underway to version 9.1.0. Currently, we have 48% of nodes reporting version 9.1. Now, in order to instigate the Chang upgrade, we need 70% of blocks being produced via node version 9.1. And we can see that on the left-hand side here, where currently 35% of blocks in the last day, in this case, and you can change the settings here, epoch, day, 12 hours, so on, 35% of blocks are being produced by node version 9.1. So this is the key metric to watch. It's catching up, and I anticipate very soon it will be at the 70% required. Charles Hoskinson and Mauro Andreoli from the Interim Constitutional Committee recently met with Diana Mondino, Argentina's Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Jorge Macri, Chief of Government of Buenos Aires. They discussed the upcoming December Constitutional Convention being hosted in Buenos Aires and explored future opportunities for collaboration. Mondino and Macri are influential leaders in Argentina's current administration, focusing on international relations and local governance. This meeting highlights potential synergies between blockchain innovation and governmental reform in Argentina. Cardano is incredibly well placed there to benefit. So next up, onto Hydra. I'm going to read this post from Tobias. Cardano's Hydra team has just shipped incremental decommits. This will allow individuals participating in a Hydra head to withdraw their funds without everyone else having to close and restart the head. Incremental commits coming up next. Now, if I click into the image here, what you'll see is the Hydra head roadmap, and you can see under one of these columns here the incremental decommit with a little purple tick next to it, presumably meaning that it's complete. So what is Hydra? So Hydra is Cardano's Layer 2 scaling solution, which aims to enable fast and low-cost transactions by creating off-chain mini-ledgers called heads. These heads allow participants to conduct transactions amongst themselves while periodically settling on the main Cardano blockchain. Now, what are incremental decommits? Incremental decommits within Cardano's Hydra roadmap refer to a feature that allows participants in a Hydra head to partially withdraw funds from the head without needing to close it completely. This feature is designed to enhance the flexibility and efficiency of managing funds in a Hydra head, facilitating smoother transactions and better liquidity management. So this is all about scaling, but off-chain scaling on the Layer 2 solution for Hydra. I think it's kind of similar to the Bitcoin Lightning Network. You move your funds onto this head, and you can make transactions with others associated within that head, and it all nets off against each other before writing back to the confirming back to the main Cardano chain. So incremental decommits seemingly allow you to remove partially your funds rather than the whole amount, and essentially closing that head. Incremental commits presumably means the opposite, which Tobias said is coming soon or coming next, where you can presumably add more funds to an existing amount that's already on the head. So watch the space. Hydra seems to be progressing very fast. Next up, IOG has announced the Alpha V1 release of the Partner Chains Toolkit. This enables blockchain builders to bootstrap security leveraging Cardano SPOs, and it's a first step in realizing the partner chain vision outlined by Charles at the Cardano Summit last year. So this blog post that appears here, it's worth a read. It's just a very high level of what it's all about. But essentially, as I just described, it's a toolkit that is going to enable the development of the partner chain ecosystem leveraging Cardano security. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion about this, and I'm excited to see how this evolves and how it's going to benefit Cardano overall longer term. In anticipation of the Chang hard fork going live, hopefully in the next week or so, once we get to that 70% of blocks being produced by node 9.1, Intersect has released this article. They would like to kick off the global workshops to draft the final constitution ahead of the Buenos Aires convention in December. So this was always on the roadmap to do. You can see I'm just scrolling down. We've got different regions of the world and different workshops that have already been scheduled for dates. So this is an opportunity to get involved with those workshops in your region, review the interim constitution and provide feedback so that we can get that final draft ready to be ratified at the December Cardano convention in Buenos Aires. If you are remotely active on X, you will probably have come across this BitPanda competition that's ongoing, has been ongoing for quite a few weeks now. They've pitched a whole load of different cryptos together and basically created a knockout tournament to the death by vote in polls. Now, we all know Cardano does very well in polls, and as you can see, Cardano has got its way all the way to close to the final. You've got Bitcoin, Cardano, Avalanche, and Ethereum, the final four. And I'm just going to show the poll that put Bitcoin against Cardano below, of which the final results are in, and Cardano absolutely obliterated Bitcoin, quite surprisingly. But, I rarely see a poll where Cardano doesn't win. So looks like we'll be against Avalanche and either Avalanche or Ethereum in the final. So I'm sure we'll decimate that one as well. And finally, on the Cardano chain news aspect of this video, I want to touch on a post by Max Maher. He released just this week, a few days ago, a really, really good video about Cardano. It's 10 minutes long. It goes through all the major benefits of Cardano, compares it to its competitors, what's been happening on chain recently, and where it's likely going to go. And I think it's a very well balanced and very brings everything back to basics about Cardano and the sort of the crypto ecosystem that we live in, and why Cardano is what it is. If you've got the time, I really recommend giving this one a watch. The Butane Synthetics protocol has announced the successful completion of their external audit. This is a key milestone in their development, and I hope this means we are now one step closer to the launch of our second synthetics protocol on Cardano. Revuto is making an announcement that they are going to announce the launch of the debit card program using MasterCard supporting Cardano native tokens. They're going to announce this at the Cardano Summit in Dubai. They say more details will be released in the coming days. Axo have just announced their buyback update for the month of August. A total of 10,400 ADA will be spread through the month, and every 7 hours in 100 ADA tranches will be used to buy back Axo. Now, they did this in July as well. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it might have been 50 ADA every couple of hours or so, something like that. This was always what Axo were intending to do. They use their fees to buy back Axo on the open market and support the price as a way of, I guess, returning value to the Axo token holders. Djed version 1.2 is soon to be launched on the Cardano testnet, as per Shahaf Bar Geffen, the CEO of the Coty network, which developed Djed in collaboration with IOG. Djed is a stable coin, an algorithmic stable coin. So not an asset-backed stable coin like USDM or USDC or Tether. Djed is an algorithmically backed stablecoin and uses a dual token system of Djed and Shen to essentially preserve its peg. In the short video here, Shahaf said that 2 weeks after testnet, it would likely go live on mainnet. So more details to come, but he says it's a very big update for Djed, very important update. So I'll be excited to see what happens there. Having an algorithmic stablecoin that can scale, in my opinion, is really, really important. And we, more so if it can work, it'll be as important, if not more important, than the asset-backed stablecoins as well. And finally, on the Cardano project updates, a quick one here. Nova Finance hybrid lending is coming to Cardano. And an image posted here of what seems like a number of asset pools, lending pools. So what is hybrid lending? In the comments here, simply it combines peered and pooled lending. So more to come. Keep an eye on that. The SEC has retracted its request for the court to classify tokens like Solana, Cardano, and Polygon as securities in its lawsuit against Binance. So this appears to be good news. The SEC is retracting its claim that Cardano is a security. However, there is something further to think about that has been pointed out in some of the comments and wider discussion across X here, and that is that this might just be a litigation tactic, in the sense that the SEC might not want this case, this trial, to dictate whether Cardano is a security or not, as the judge seems a little bit more favorable to the side of crypto. These tokens are still involved in securities cases against other exchanges such as Coinbase, and they have not retracted the request in those cases yet, where there may be a more favorable judge towards the SEC. So could just be tactics, but this on its own is still good news. As promised by Cynthia Lummis at the Bitcoin conference, she has published the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve legislation. This is a bill to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and other programs to ensure the transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government to offset costs utilizing certain resources of the Federal Reserve System and for other purposes. And following that, as reported by the Bitcoin magazine also, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill has officially been introduced. So this is a shot from congress.gov. And as you can see here, this bill has been now introduced with the action to read twice and referred to the Committee on Banking, Housing and Urban Affairs. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about this as it progresses. Starting this Wednesday, $1.5 trillion Morgan Stanley's 15,000 financial advisors can now solicit eligible clients, BlackRock and Fidelity's Bitcoin ETFs. This is important. That's a whole load of selling power going into these crypto ETFs. In addition, Michael Saylor, as reported by Watcher Guru, is planning to raise another $2 billion from MicroStrategy stock in order to purchase more Bitcoin. I expect nothing less from Microstrategy and Michael Saylor. And finally, a clip of Trump saying we will pay off the national debt with Bitcoin. It's an interesting clip. It's just a minute long. He talks to Bitcoin really being bigger than any company in the world. It's trillions of dollars, and it's done that without any legislation, any regulation. It's just been a natural, organic thing that's become enormous. He's recognizing that and essentially saying, look, if we don't get on top of it, in front of it, then we won't be the leader anymore. It's refreshing having that being said by such a prominent world leader, or soon to be potentially the most prominent of world leaders. Thank you once again for watching ADA Network State. If you did enjoy this video, then please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.